A lot of people outside of Nagaland do not really understand what the Nagaland political solution is all about. It refers to the ongoing peace talks and negotiations between the Indian government and the various Naga political groups which exist to resolve the very old conflict in that particular region. And there are various groups which have been kind of brought onto the on board, but that is all that has been said. That might be true, but the framework agreement again is in question. And Mr. Amit Shah has been saying a lot of things before the assembly elections of 2023 in Nagaland. The ENPO had said that they wouldn't participate in the elections, and they did not participate finally in the Lok Sabha elections. But when the Vidhan Sabha or the Legislative Assembly elections were to take place, Mr. Amit Shah, the Home Minister, had given an assurance that there would be a solution to the Naga political problem. However, one very interesting thing which I was seeing in the news a couple of days back was the press release which has come from the Eastern Nagaland People's Organization, that is ENPO. They have informed through their press release that they have decided not to entertain any invitation of any Naga political group, NPG. And what they have said is that they have gone into details, and there has been a thorough deliberation with all the 8 tribal councils at Tuensang headquarters on 16th April 2025, and they decided to reiterate their stance on upholding the principle of unity first, solution second on the Indo-Naga political issues. They have said that multiplication of various factions within the Naga political groups was according to them, contradictory to their principal stand, and therefore they had unanimously decided to stay away from attending any invitation to any program or functions of all the Naga political groups. And their resolution has been initiated in order to discourage the growing number of factions. So they want to curb the mushrooming of the multiple factions, which according to them is disintegrating the Naga family in the name of the Naga cause, and it is doing harm, because the more the Naga political groups, according to them, the more confusion there is, and the more of disjointedness and divisions which come to the fore. So let's see what happens. But my simple point is that if the Home Minister has been saying that there will be a solution, and he keeps saying it every now and then, why is it that this government, which has been at the center for 11, in fact more than 11 years now, why is it not resolving to ensure that Nagaland's political problems and the issues related to Nagaland are resolved, and these number of groups which exist and people who have to suffer the taxation, and like the ENPO has said, there are more factions mushrooming. This can only be curbed if the government of India talks to the various factions and comes to an amicable resolution of this problem. But I doubt if they will do it. However, what is this? What are the demands which have been raised by the Naga groups till now? They want greater autonomy, and they want a distinctive identity within the country. And of course, they have been demanding for a flag, of course, and this was suggested by the NSC and IM. Then they also want recognition of the traditional customary system for land and natural resources. And as far as disarmament is concerned, they want that armed groups should lay down their arms and integrate into the mainstreams. And that is very important anyhow for the peace process. But in a country where we are talking about the Uniform Civil Code, how is it even possible that the customary laws or the traditional laws of any state will be respected by the BJP, which expects everyone to adhere to the one single rule which is laid down, adhere to a singleness, but not celebrate your identities, or that is exactly what the BJP wants. And therefore, when we talk about the problems of insurgency, for example, it's a very complex issue, because the Naga conflict has had various factions and various insurgent groups, and it makes it very difficult to come to a consensus or agreement with all the groups. And therefore, what I heard recently was that some groups had agreed to certain things that the government of India had proposed, but then there are different viewpoints on the scope and the nature of the solution, and some groups advocate that there should be a more comprehensive form of autonomy, while others are more focused on addressing the root causes of the conflict. And of course, peace talks have been going on for a very, very long time, and when we hear of the draft agreement, we also hope that the final agreement is also presented soon. However, that remains completely elusive, and some groups have even raised concerns about the result of the talks, and this because of the speed at which this is happening. So, in totality, one could say that the Nagaland political solution is very complex, and it has many, many facets, and therefore it requires a collaborative approach involving the Indian government, the Naga groups, and all the other stakeholders to achieve, you know, lasting peace and stability for the entire region. So let's see what happens now. Now that we know what the ENPO has decided, and it has decided not to accept any invitation from any of the Naga political groups. So from here on, we will just have to wait and watch and see what happens and how the others react, and what the government of India has in mind. Though I have a feeling that they're going to dilly-dally and also delay the matter, because they don't really have an answer to this very complex and difficult kind of an issue. Do share this video and let me know what else you want me to talk about. Any issues of corruption in Nagaland, any issues that concern you, that you want me to talk about, raise the issue. I'm always here for my dear friends from Nagaland.